You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
Rowan Atkinson is genuinely the only person on the planet who can make Hollywood's biggest stars completely fall apart without a single word. These are his greatest, wildest, completely unscripted moments.
Quite a while ago, called Mr. Bean's Holiday.
Oh, yes.
In which Mr. Bean...
You're so casual about that. I did a film called Mr. Bean's What?
Oh.
Well, does he look like an even bigger knob if he said, oh, well, of course you all know Mr. Bean's Holiday? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
so I'm
trying to reduce my knob quotient.
Most iconic characters take years of painstaking work to build, but Rowan Atkinson stumbled onto Mr. Bean completely by accident.
So I just stood in front of a mirror, to be honest, and I just started pulling faces, I mean, for want of a better term. And I just sort of, was doing this... And then there was this idea of having a card. Well, it was a piece of paper. Well, no, so this won't be at all funny, but I'll do it anyway. And I came out just going...
Anyway, Stephen Colbert once shared this story about talking to Richard Curtis. Richard explained that back at Oxford, he was convinced he was the clever one, the guy with all the wordplay. Until a random student walked on stage with nothing but a piece of paper, didn't utter a single word for 7 full minutes, and absolutely destroyed the entire room. Richard said it was genuinely demoralizing to be outdone by a guy who didn't even talk. And I actually dug up something very similar in one of Rowan's earliest theater performances.
Nibble. Orifice. Tang. Zob.
Which brings me straight to one of the most nostalgic movies of my whole childhood. Honestly, still one of the funniest films ever made. Even the cast and crew couldn't keep it together long enough to finish the shots.
He's absolutely unique as a performer.
It's really hard not to laugh.
Just loving Rowan and thinking how brilliant he was.
He is a perfectionist, he's scrupulous, and in almost every frame is perhaps the funniest man I've ever worked with.
A pretty long time, and all of that time he's been working on making people laugh, and he's very serious about it.
No.
I first met him because he was one of those performers who could literally go on stage and nothing would happen, and you would be completely entranced, roaring with laughter, but you didn't know what he was doing. You had no idea what the hell he was doing. He would just stand there and he would make you laugh. The great silent comedians, for me, always played with the idea of cinema.
Rowan Atkinson has this hilarious ongoing problem. He's so iconic as Mr. Bean that people meeting him in real life genuinely don't know he's Rowan Atkinson. And you're not going to believe what happened when he tried to explain that to a random stranger.
The thing I find most tricky is when people don't recognize you particularly, but half recognize you. You know, it's that strange thing where they go... and of course that means they stare. They stare a lot. And they just look. You're sort of feeling, I wish that person wouldn't stare at me. So, I'd rather just, hold up a flag saying, yes. Yes, it's me. And he came up to me after a while and he said, excuse me, has anyone ever told you that you're the absolute spitting image of that Mr. Bean? And I said, well, actually, I am the actor who plays Mr. Bean. And he said, hi. I bet you wish you were. And there followed this bizarre conversation in which the more I tried to claim that I was the person whom he thought I merely resembled, the less he believed me. But what was funny was how close he thought I was to you know, he said the resemblance is uncanny. Have you ever thought of doing any, you know, look-alike work, like, you know, Stag Nights and Hen Nights? You know, you can go along as Mr. Bean. And I said, no, he said, because you can make an absolute fortune. And I could tell after a while I had to bring the conversation to a close because clearly not only was he not believing me, but he was getting quite annoyed you know, that I was pursuing this line of I am Rowan Atkinson and clearly he thought I was this total arse. Just because I happened to look a bit like Mr. Bean, goes around the country actually claiming to be Mr. Bean. You know, what a...
And it's not just the UK either, global. Wait until you hear how he got recognized halfway around the world, right in the middle of filming.
When there was a bus coming along and we heard the Chinese people open the windows and they were like, Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean, Mr.
And this next scene is completely iconic, never fails to crack me up. It's the moment some poor guy walks into the bathroom and catches Rowan in one deeply suspicious position. I dug up a clip where Rowan Atkinson accidentally let slip which one of his roles was secretly the most autobiographical.
That's a proper showbiz reunion. Yes.
We haven't talked about it yet, but we did a movie in 1980, 30 years ago.
I'm afraid so. Yes, it was. A hideous, self-centered comedian. And Jeff played my sidekick, which was the Richard Curtis role, because Richard Curtis and I used to do a show, you know, together. Yeah. He portrayed this hideous monster of a comedian and yes, it was a kind of tricky thing because obviously one doesn't want to admit that it was in any sense biographical. But it was thought maybe that if I played the role, no one could possibly say, well, of course, that's really Rowan Atkinson. If someone else had played the role, then they would have said that. They would have said, you know who that is.
I know a lot of you have been wondering, where did the name Mr. Bean even come from? So I went digging, and I actually found this incredibly rare 1993 interview from a Danish talk show that answers it.
I wondered about the name. Bean has been a vegetable, no?
Yeah. We started with, you know, zucchini. And, and
Mr. Zucchini.
Mr. Zucchini, yeah. or Mr. Potato, or Mr. And then we just sort of thought, Bean. Bean, you know, it's short and it's silly. I probably enjoyed playing Mr. Bean the most because he's a character who's furthest away from my own character. As a person, I don't like him at all. I think he's very odd and pretty weird and not very nice.
I also found this clip where Emma DeCons talks about what it was actually like watching him transform into Mr. Bean while filming Mr. Bean's...
Guy, really elegant, really kind and nice, and then when we just started to rehearse, just his face was changing, his body was changing, the whole character was appearing. It was really like two people in one.
Her breakdown got me thinking, and honestly, it's kind of hilarious to see exactly what she meant, especially the way he acts anytime a woman's in the room.
Yes.
Cheers.
I'm not sure I've ever met a man quite like you, Basil.
I had to pause it right here because she kept breaking character and laughing so many times they couldn't finish the scene. Anyway, let's jump right back into the older Mr. Bean clips with his girlfriend. Even in his supposedly serious roles like Johnny English, where he's meant to be smooth, charismatic, cool as ice, Rowan can't resist slipping in comedy every few seconds.
Come on. People here often talk, but my hands are tied. And there are times when one has to go.
Indeed. That's a good pussy.
There's a good pussy. Who's a good pussy? I'm impressed. Who's a good pussy?
Oh, I'm very much at one with the animal kingdom. Sorry, I know.
Oh, I know. Who's lovely?
Who's lovely? Who?
We're all lovely.
We read people.
Oh. Well, we must get together sometime. I think you'll find me a real page turner. Need to carry the bags.
Not on my watch. Clear.
Crystal clear, Pegasus. There's nothing I'd like more, Simon.
Rowan Atkinson never fails to make the rest of us cry laughing, yet he barely ever cracks a smile in his own film. And it gets weirder because he's openly claimed that he genuinely finds almost nothing in life funny, which begs the obvious question, how the hell does he pull it off?
Yes.
But do you not laugh? Do you never laugh?
Oh, I do laugh. Yes.
That's good. But do you make yourself laugh?
Very, very occasionally.
It strikes me that Richard Curtis says that you find almost nothing funny.
Yeah. I find it difficult to laugh at other things. Very few people and very few situations make me laugh. So somebody tells a very good joke and I go, very funny.
And they stop telling jokes.
And they stop telling jokes, but I'm thinking about, yes, I suppose it is funny. You know what I mean? I'm kind of, it's sort of clocking, it's sort of slowly filtering its way down through the system. And sometimes I laugh a long time afterwards when I suddenly realise how well structured the joke was and how beautifully told it was. And they're always looking for the moment when I corpse or when I laugh or when I make a mistake, and there are none. In all the series of Blackadder, there are none of me being remotely amused by anything. It's very sad. I mean, generally, I enjoy the performance more than the joke. I usually enjoy the performer and his attitude. You know, it's the attitude with which humour is told which I enjoy so much. In other words, generally, the things that make me laugh are characters, you know, it's people.
He's actually terrified of being unfunny on camera, and openly admits he only ever fully relaxes in small rooms with his closest friend. Which makes you wonder, is he just way more serious than any of us realized?
Shows us that you're supposed to amuse. I generally rely on being interesting rather than funny. They, that is, us here, are not actually very interested in people who are very interesting. They just want people with wacky stories about airports, and I haven't really got any.
How true.
It's true.
As I think I know you are, about whether I'm a comedian or whether I'm an actor.
No.
You know, or whether I'm an
not
actor.
confused.
You're
at
not confused
no.
at all? Oh, well, I'll stop talking.
I know you're boring now, and I know you will consider...
Because I think generally that people want you to be funny, so I try not to be unfunny. But I try to make up for my lack of funniness within myself by hopefully trying to be, you know, vaguely intelligent and interesting about it. I can be funny, I think, as myself, when I'm with very good friends in small rooms, and I'm very relaxed.
Well,
but as soon as I'm in a big
it's just
studio,
the two of us here, so...
and all those minutes.
This is Rowan and Colbert diving into his legendary period sitcom Blackadder. And here's the wild part. They deliberately set the whole show in the past just to escape from being crushed under the enormous shadow of faulty towers. Watch how he explains it.
Right there, friend Hugh Laurie. Where did this idea come from? Because it's for the people who don't know, it's 4 different ages of England, starting in the medieval times.
We'd been working on a sketch show called Not the 9 O'Clock News in England, and we thought we'd quite like to do a sitcom of some, you know, a situation comedy of some kind.
I know it's sitcom.
Sorry, I know I thought I should.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought I should
Yes,
translate
exactly,
just in case.
Yeah,
You know, the
sure,
jargon
the
can be
across the pond,
confusing. Anyway, well, the big sitcom, I'm using the term again, at the time.
Yes. You went to Oxford, right? You learned that at Oxford.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Well, actually, even before then, I knew it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Prodigy. Prodigy.
I can't remember. I've completely lost my thread. Oh yes, why we conceived the Blackadder? Why? We felt that any sitcom we did would be unfavorably compared to Fawlty Towers.
Most
whatever we did, and most things are. Indeed, the Blackadder, I'm sure, is unfavorably compared to Fawlty Towers even now. But anyway, we thought we'd reduce the chances of that by at least taking it completely out of the 20th century, which was the century we were in at the time.
Now, using that exact same comedic instinct that dodged Fawlty Towers with Blackadder, Rowan uses it again to pitch Johnny English Strikes Again. His explanation? Every active spy in the country has been outed, leaving the agency with literally nobody left to actually investigate anything. It's such a chaotic setup, visibly starts craving popcorn. Watch him lay out the whole mess.
It is exactly like the beginning of the James Bond movie Skyfall. There is a computer hack of British government, and all British spies are compromised, their identities are exposed, and of course, because all the spies are exposed, there aren't any spies to go and find out who's exposed the spies. So they have to bring someone. Are you following me? This is.
Oh, 100%, yes.
This is pretty.
I'm there.
This is pretty high.
Taste the popcorn.
This is pretty highfalutin stuff.
Yes. So they have to get a retired spy.
So they have to get a retired spy. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We thought of that idea before you did, but yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know.
Now let's jump all the way back to the classics and revisit one of his most legendary, timeless moments. In Bean, the ultimate disaster movie, his very first trip to America goes wildly sideways at the airport security checkpoint. Watch him try to play it cool by mimicking the security guard, only to accidentally convince the entire armed police force he's holding a firearm.
Not you, sweetie.
Oh, right.
Carefully take out your weapon.
Rowan has always insisted that Bean is essentially just a 9-year-old boy trapped inside a fully grown man's body.
If anyone wants to ask a question about Mr. Bean, you know, what would he do if this happened? You know, what sort of car does he drive? What does he dream about? I would say, what does a 9-year-old boy think about? And then I say, oh, that's what he'd think about. And of course, towards women, for instance, he's, you know, he sort of romanticizes them. You know, they're sort of mother figures, I suppose, more than. But the idea of a relationship or a sexual relationship, and that is just not part of his makeup at all. It just wouldn't never enter his brain.
No.
I mean, you must presume that he knows nothing about it.
And absolutely nothing proves that theory harder than this exact scene. Driving through LA, Bean sees someone flip him the bird and genuinely thinks it's just a cool, friendly American way of saying hello. So with complete childlike innocence, he proudly starts flashing the middle finger to every single person on the street. Rowan actually has a golden rule for physical comedy. He explains why making a character nice or overly realistic is basically the death of a good joke. Watch him break down the ridiculously simple formula that turned a selfish little anarchist into a worldwide icon.
I preferred the simplicity and the cheapness, if you like, of some of the early Mr. Bean stuff, which, as you say, we start wide. You know, there's a lot of wide shooting, and I like wide shooting. I'm a great believer in what Charlie Chaplin said, is that a life is a tragedy in close-up and a comedy in long shot. If you sit back visually on a situation, it automatically becomes funnier. Making a character more real and more sympathetic and more identifiable doesn't necessarily make him funny, because in many ways what's funny about Mr. Bean, for example, is his complete sort of selfishness, and he's a natural-born anarchist. So he's a child trapped in a man's body, whereas Trevor is an adult. So it's not necessarily funny to make him more three-dimensional, but he becomes very obsessed and very self-centered. So in other words, he leaves his niceness behind, and that is when he becomes funny.
And when someone finally asked how stressful his films actually are to make,
but I still find the business of shooting and acting him quite stressful. It's the very singular nature of the character and the fact that he is at the center of the film, I mean, obviously, but I mean, to be in virtually every shot of every day of the shooting is, I find, quite a challenge.
That was his answer years ago, and shockingly, he still carries that exact same weight into his newest projects.
Oh, film I find very very, very difficult. Exhausting. I find it exhausting, and I find it stressful.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, I do stop eventually when I just get bored. It's great to reach the point when you just can't be bothered to do another take. And that's normally when the director goes, oh, goodness, we've reached that point.
I don't think of your characters ever as being mean or nasty spirited, but you think that Trevor is nicer than the characters you normally play.
I mean, in Man vs. Bee, he was quite psychopathic because the bee drove him kind of nuts. He's vain and sort of, again, self-centred, doesn't care about anybody else.
He's a knob, really.
He's another knob, yeah. But so I think Trevor Bingley is a pleasant contrast. I mean, just people that you wouldn't want to have dinner with.
You can't do a Rowan Atkinson video without bringing up his weirdly secure car. This thing is unhinged. You need 5 separate keys just to start the engine, and sometimes he even removes the entire steering wheel. Watch this whole routine. It starts innocently with a key to his pocket with a piece of string, then he goes fully rogue. He drops the overhead compartment, dives into the trunk, fishes out a tiny hidden wallet just to reach the engine key. He's treating a 5-minute morning commute like a Fort Knox heist. Finally, he locates the last piece of the puzzle, jams it in, and turns the ignition with total unshakable confidence. And absolutely nothing. And speaking of this scene, a lot of people online swear it was fake.
We did everything for real, and I so preferred that.
Trying to get the job, and it was being sat in an armchair on top of the Mini, and I just thought,
that right there is the massive difference between filming a movie 30 years ago versus filming one today.
I'm sorry to have to tell you that there is a man hidden in the car with a small video screen.
I mean, certainly the wider shots, if you can see the wheels of the car on the road, then we were doing it for real. If it's a tighter shot, then we may have been on a trailer being pulled along. Just to make it easy, I tended to just, do it. I remember, we wanted this shot of the car coming straight towards camera. The cameraman was here, and I just drove straight at him, and you would never do that in this day and age. I mean, I stopped, before I hit him, but I might not have done, or the brakes might have failed. Because of that, you're not allowed to do that kind of thing anymore. But in those days, we did.
We were saying today that you are these iconic characters, but we don't really know much about you. Who are you? Like, what are your hobbies and likes and...
I tend to keep myself to myself a lot. I'm not on social media in any shape or form. I prefer to keep all my activities of a personal level, personal and private, just because I find it much more relaxing. I find the whole concept of social media just not
keeping up with it,
sort of
right?
unrelaxing. Yeah. It feels like an unrelaxing thing, so I don't do it. I'm huge. No, not really. I suppose you don't, you just want to have fun. That, I suppose, is what drives you. And you think, I suppose with Mr. Bean in particular, because he's a largely silent character, that there's no doubt that he was slightly contrived to have, there he is, he was slightly contrived to have international appeal, I suppose.
Right, because there's no language barrier.
Because I was based actually on a holiday in Venice that I had in 1985, quite a long time ago. I'm noticing all the musical artists who were popular at the time, I thought, how odd that musicians generally assume they have an international audience. Whereas if you do comedy, you assume you've just got your country, just doing purely visual comedy. Whether I could, do that I'd explored it on stage, and I was interested in trying to put visual comedy through the character of Mr. Bean on TV.